Every day, someone tries to convince you that to get rich, you need to be visible. Show your face, show your routine, show your lifestyle. You've seen it. The screenshots, the results, the behind-the-scenes clips, the cars, the trips, and this constant narrative of success. The message is always the same. If you're not on social media, you're falling behind. But that isn't true. In practice, it's almost the complete opposite. The people who are actually building real, sustainable wealth are not on Instagram explaining how they do it. They're not on Twitter arguing about the latest strategy. They're definitely not filming motivational stories at 6 in the morning from their perfectly clean kitchen. They're working on things that don't generate likes, but generate cash. Maybe you've thought about it. Creating content, becoming an influencer, starting a channel, a profile, showing up every single day, and maybe you stopped for a very simple reason. You just don't want the exposure. You don't like being on camera. You don't want your private life to become public property. Or maybe you just don't see the point of turning everything you do into a piece of content. If that sounds like you, listen carefully. That's not a weakness, it's a massive advantage. Because most of the wealth being created today comes from quiet, repeatable, and completely unglamorous business models. The problem is that no one talks about them, precisely because they don't attract attention. I have to admit, I fell for that trap too. For a long time, I believed that money lived in visibility. I thought all I needed was the right method, the validated strategy, the proven model that works. So I tried ideas that promised fast returns. I followed popular paths that everyone was talking about. I listened to advice that sounded logical and compelling. And you know what? None of it worked the way it was advertised. Over time, one thing became painfully clear. The problem wasn't the market, it was the narrative. The internet sells this really dangerous idea that attention creates wealth. But, in reality, attention creates exposure. And exposure creates competition. It creates noise. And it creates constant, soul-crushing pressure to perform. Wealth rarely comes from attention. It comes from infrastructure. Ordinary people are getting rich right now, running things that nobody sees. Things that don't earn applause. Things that would look incredibly boring in a 15-second story. What are they doing? They're selling specialized services to businesses that can't solve their own basic problems. They're creating simple digital products with no sophisticated branding or fancy launch events. They're running faceless YouTube channels with no personality, no strong opinions, and no public identity. They operate in small, ignored markets where almost no one even wants to compete. And most importantly, they build systems. While most people are obsessing over growing an audience, these quiet builders are focused on reducing friction. While others are chasing virality, they're chasing predictability. Here's a simple example for you. There are YouTube channels you've probably never seen and never will. There's no face, no personal story, no charisma. The videos are purely functional, sometimes even boring to watch. But they solve one very specific problem for a very specific person. Like how to use a complicated piece of software, or how to fix a particular model of washing machine. Those channels, the boring ones, make 5 figures a month from ads, affiliate links, or their own simple digital products. And almost no one has a clue who's behind them. Here's another example. Small, digital service operations. Things like basic automation for small businesses, managing ad campaigns, optimizing internal processes. None of this is going to go viral on TikTok. But companies desperate for solutions pay for it every single month like clockwork. The pattern is always the same. These people are not trying to impress you. They're trying to work, and they do 3 things extremely well. First, they solve a real, tangible problem. Second, they repeat the process without relying on motivation or inspiration. And third, they focus on improving a few basic metrics: cost, conversion, and scale. That's it. It's not sexy, it's not fast. And that is exactly why it works. Most people quit these paths because there's no external validation. There are no likes, no comments, no one in their DMs saying, "Wow, this is amazing." Working in silence is uncomfortable. It's unsettling because for a while, you don't know if you're on the right path. But wealth doesn't respond to applause. It responds to operational consistency. Think about it. People who show up everywhere have to perform all the time. They have to be on, but people who stay quiet can afford to fail, to adjust, to pivot, and to keep going without anyone noticing. There's a fundamental difference between people who sell visibility and people who build wealth. Those who sell visibility need to stay relevant. Their income depends on it. Those who build wealth just need to stay solvent. Their income depends on their systems. So if someone comes to you promising easy, fast, visible money, please see that as a clear warning sign. Because real money is rarely visible at the beginning. It looks small, it looks slow. Sometimes it even looks insignificant. But it grows because it's built on a sustainable foundation. The ordinary people who are getting rich today understood something simple and a little uncomfortable. The less you appear, the fewer distractions you have. Fewer distractions mean more focus, and more focus leads to much better decisions. They aren't trying to beat the algorithm, they're trying to beat the math. In the end, the game was never about going viral. It was never about being recognized. It was never about building an image. It was always about building something that works, even when no one is watching. And that's exactly where most people give up. Because there's no glamour in the beginning. There's no immediate feedback loop. There is no shortcut. But the ones who endure that early silence, that period of quiet, consistent work, they build something that doesn't depend on applause to survive. So, while others are out there competing for a few seconds of attention, these quiet builders are accumulating assets, patiently, quietly, without ever showing their face, and without having to convince anyone of anything. Thanks for watching. If this idea resonates with you, consider subscribing for more content that goes against the grain. See you in the next one.